Welcome to Journaling to Reflect. My name's Gemma. If we haven't met already, although I'm seeing lots of familiar faces this morning, which is really, really lovely. But if this is your first time here, I'm Gemma. I'll be guiding you through the next 30 minutes of journaling. I'm a personal and professional coach. I'm also an avid journaling fan. So if this is your first time journaling, please don't worry. There's absolutely no pressure. You're not going to be asked to share anything or do anything. This is absolutely a space for you. And these sessions happen each month, usually on the first Monday of the month. And this month is always a little bit delayed as we have a slower start to the year. But they're just 30 minutes, no pressure, journaling with others. And each month we have a different theme. And the theme this month is about recentering yourself, coming back to yourself, and just taking a moment to ground yourself back with who you are, what's true for you, because it can be very busy at this time of year, people setting new intentions, goals for themselves. There's lots of noise around about what you should be doing, and it can be easy to get caught up in that and get sort of distracted by what other people are doing, what other people are telling you to do. So this is just half an hour. We're gonna kind of come back to yourself, your intuition, your truest self. And maybe from there, you'd like to set an intention from the year. So, as always, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Session is being recorded, so just keep that in mind. I'm not going to ask you to share anything or come onto audio or anything like that. But it is always really nice to hear your reflections in the chat about what's coming up for you, not necessarily the content of your journaling, but any reflections that you have after you've written. It really can help other people's experience as well. But we are going to start with just 5 minutes wild writing here today. Freestyle writing. It's just going to help us arrive, settle into our day, arrive in this moment. And wild writing, what's that if you haven't heard that term before? It's just a freestyle writing technique. There's no rules, there's no guidance, there's no structure. It's simply a stream of consciousness onto the page. You may have come across Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, where she talks about the morning pages. So don't worry about handwriting, structure, spelling, don't punctuation. This is only for your eyes. No one else is going to see this. And if that comes up as a list of stuff for you, if that comes up as words or doodling, or if that means you take a moment just to pause and think about what's on your mind, then that's absolutely fine. You can't do this wrong. There's no wrong way to journal. So we're just going to take 5 minutes now and I'll time us and I get to journal with you, which is absolutely amazing. And remember to release that pressure of how should I be doing this or what should I be writing? If you don't know what to write, simply start by writing, I don't know what to write. And if the next moment is still not sure what to write, then that can be the next thing that you write. Stream of consciousness onto the page, and we'll collect back together in 5 minutes. Just welcoming you back. As and when you're ready, feel free to carry on writing if you're in the moment. There. How does that feel for you? Is that easy to get started this morning? Did the words flow freely onto the page, or was it a bit of a false start, a bit of a stop start? I feel it's taking me a little while to get warmed up this morning, so that was quite a nice 5 minutes to get into it. And sometimes you might find that the words flow freely, they're spilling over onto the page, and then sometimes it can feel a little bit more difficult to get them out. And that doesn't mean necessarily journaling works or doesn't work. Maybe that's just what you need in that moment. It's definitely you needed that journaling space, or maybe you just needed some thinking space. Really lovely. You couldn't write as fast as you were thinking. That's great sometimes about journaling, is that it can actually help us slow down those busy thoughts, because we can't generally keep up with how quickly our brains work. Anna, lovely. Thank you. Did identify you're in a good place. That's so lovely. So the theme for us today is about this coming back home to ourselves. As I said, we can easily get pulled in lots of different directions, can't we? Life gets busy, we act on default, we respond automatically, and we lose that connection to who we are or what we need in that moment. And sometimes we even respond or do something and later think, why on earth did I do that? Why did I say yes to that? And that's just us acting on default. It's efficient, isn't it? But sometimes it's not always connected with how we really feel or what's congruent with us or what aligns with our values. And I do believe in journaling, we can really come back to that connection because we can slow down. We can really think about what is it? How am I responding? We can reflect on situations where we have responded or acted and think, was that true? What led me to react like that? And I'm just reading a book at the moment, as you're talking about a lot about intuition. And I just wanted to read something here before we start with the prompts and see what comes up for you. Because we do get swayed away from that intuition. So, what does one feed into intuition so that it is constantly nourished and responsive to our requests? One feeds it life. One feeds it life by listening to it. What good is a voice without an ear to receive it? What good is a woman in our daily life unless she can hear and depend upon that voice of intuition? I've heard women say it, if not 100 times, then 1,000 times. I knew I should have listened to my intuition. I sensed that I should or should have not done such and such, but I didn't listen. We feed the deep intuitive self by listening to it and acting upon its advice. In this way, it is like the muscles in the body. If a muscle is not used, eventually it withers. Intuition is exactly like that. Without food, without employment, it atrophies. And our grasp of our intuition and our intuitive wisdom may feel weak as a result, but with exercise, it will come back and become fully manifested. So we're going to lead into our first prompt today. And we've just got a couple, and so we've got a little bit of a longer time that we can spend on each of these today. And so the first one that I invite you to think about if you allowed yourself to listen to your quiet intuition, that wise voice within, what would that be saying to you? Well, let's just take 5 minutes on this prompt today without judgment or worry about where the pen might lead. And following on from that, if you're ready, as and when you're ready, just a second prompt there for you to think about, which is what helps you come back to yourself? What helps you remember your intuition, your wise voice? And as you start the year, what intention wants to emerge from your truest self? So important to take that time to ground back to yourself. And I always find that, when we're busy and we haven't got time to journal or reflect or do those quiet things, that's when we need it most. And this journaling time has just reminded me of that. That's when I come back to my grounded sense of intuition. So, in the last couple of moments, it'd be lovely if you wanted to share maybe a word or a phrase that stood out for you today within this journaling space. Or it could be anything at all. Anything that's come up for you. It may have been from the reading, from your journaling, just a reflection. That space to think is needed. Really is. We're not very good at giving ourselves that, are we? Noting the difference between autopilot and intuition. Lovely. Yeah. I had the question, what even is intuition? That came up for me. Um, I started down a little rabbit hole there. Oh, yes, I know. I love that story of the Zen monk who meditated for an hour a day unless he was really pushed for time and then he'd meditate for 2 hours. I think that is just so brilliant. Pace myself. The word is community. I love that. There's something really gorgeous about writing, isn't there, together, even in our own spaces and this quiet time. Being relaxed is when you take stock and recharge. Lovely. Making time for quiet. How do I integrate being of service and helping others with helping myself? Wow. And some of those questions you might actually use as journaling prompts in themselves. Take that away for your next journaling session. We are speedily running out of time, so I'm just going to pop in the link for next month. If you wish to join again next month, we are at the 2nd of February, I think. So we're back to the first Monday of the month, and it would be so, so lovely to see you again next month. Thank you so much for your time and your attention and your energy. I absolutely love being here with you, and I'm so glad that we're back. So have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll see you next month. Take care, everybody.